Hello, welcome to Making Pinch Pots with Mrs. Sudak. For this activity, each person is going to need their own clay. You will not be doing this as a group, but individually working together at a table group. First thing you're going to need is you're going to need clay, obviously, that is wedged. You're going to take 2 balls of clay that I'd say are about the size of ping pong balls, and you're going to make sure that you roll them into a ball form. Once you do that, we're going to insert our thumb into the ball and we're going to pinch, hence why this is called a pinch pot. It's going to be a tiny little pinch pot. You can make pinch pots very large or very tiny, and we're just pinching, working our thumb through the inside of the hole. Try not to pinch too hard that you don't want your walls to be super thin. Okay, that is what that looks like. You're going to do the same thing to the other ball. Insert your thumb and then take your thumb and pull out, trying to create 2 little pots that are about the same size. Once you have that, we are going to actually join the pots together and we're going to create a pod. Okay. You could have a pinch pot that is just a pot like this. This is a very primitive pot, how people made pots years ago before they invented the pottery wheel. You will need a container of slip, a brush, a serrated rib or a tool to make scratch marks, and a wooden blending tool. First thing we're going to do to make the pod is we're going to scratch the edges of our pinch pot. Next, you need your slip, you need a brush, and you're going to apply the slip to the area where you scratched. Put them together, kind of line them up. Now you can see that the inside of this is going to be hollow. There's going to be air in there. You're going to go ahead and use your thumb, blend together. Being gentle on that seam so that it doesn't cave in. Spend a few minutes with your hands just blending out from the top area and the bottom area where you have a lot of clay. Blend that into the middle area where your seam is to make sure that you reinforce that area. You also want to get it nice and smooth, so it's a good time now to use a little bit of water on your hands just to smooth out any little bumps. You can also add a tiny bit of slip as well. Keep working through it until you have something that's like a nice smooth egg. All right, now you have a nice smooth pod. Looks kind of like an egg shape. Your next step is optional, but if you wanted to change the shape of this pod, you could use a paddle. Paddle looks like this, or a paddle can look like this guy. And if you wanted to change the shape and give your pod like planes, you could do that by just taking your paddle and gently tapping it. You can make it more geometric shaped, or just change the general shape by giving it a whack or 2. Okay. Make sure when you do this, you're actually holding it in your hand and it's not on the table and you're not like hitting down on it. That's going to cause you to have some issues with your pod. All right, now that we have a pod with some different planes, if you opted to do that, we're actually going to cut it and make it functional, which is something you can do. I would use a serrated knife or a knife like this with a flat edge, and go ahead and cut. This is going to cut it into 2 pieces, so you have a top and a bottom. Should come apart. And then you can kind of smooth out this area here. You can see where you joined two together with a slip on the inside. You want to be careful not to manipulate this edge too much because you want your lid to fit on to the base. Okay. And now you've created a functional piece. It has a lid, a top, and from here you could build many other things. You could build up a handle, you could build a piece on the inside here so it fits in so your lid doesn't just slip off, but you've created the basic pinch pot with two pieces.